Tayyab,
Yes.
I'm just thinking the AWS account which I created, it's not secure
Hmm.
because it just accepts email ID and password. I want something
Hmm.
like the banking account where I will insert my details along with plus I receive an OTP to enter
Hmm.
to the portal. I want something like that.
Hmm.
Is this possible to set up?
Yes, there is a way. AWS itself recommends you to secure your account by enabling something called multi-factor authentication, wherein by entering your email ID and phone number, plus additionally you have to enter the OTP or some additional authentication mechanism to access your account. Let's check what is that multi-factor authentication which AWS is talking about. Basically, multi-factor authentication we need to enable for every user which we create in our AWS account. Since we have created our new account, we will be logging it with our root user email ID and its password. If anybody gets their hand onto this email ID and password, you can say that your AWS account can be hacked. For example, if somebody gets access to your email ID and password, they can log into your Gmail account and they can send emails or they can get access to your Google Drive. And similarly, when you consider your banking portal, if somebody able to access your email ID or your customer ID and your password, they'll be able to access the portal. But for making any money related transactions, they have to enter the OTP which you will receive on your phone number. So in this way the security can be improved and your account can be secured from unauthorized access. So similar way there is with the AWS account. Let's go to my screen. There are multiple ways in which AWS recommends you to enable multi-factor authentication on your user. The first way where we see the multi-factor authentication enabling recommendation is when we go to our security credentials. So I'm clicking on the security credentials. We see this page where it says identity and access management IAM. We'll talk about all these in our upcoming videos. So as we can see here on the screen, MFA not activated for root user, the message is shown and assign MFA button is present. I click on this MFA button, I get to this screen. This is the one way through which we can come to assigning the multi-factor authentication. The other way is that, let me go back to the dashboard. Since we have seen that clicking on security credentials takes us to the IAM page, let me search for the AWS service IAM. I see this IAM service. I'm clicking on it. We can see this page loads up, whereas the information is slightly different, but again add MFA button is visible here and it says add MFA for the root user as it said earlier. I'm clicking on this MFA button. We can see that it has led me to this page where again assign MFA button is available. I'm clicking on this assign MFA button available. We can see the same page which we have seen earlier. If we scroll down and check, we can see that we need to give a device name and we need to select from 3 different mechanisms through which MFA authentication can be done. First is the authenticator app, second is the security key, and third is the hardware token. In these 3 options, so first option involves installing an app in our phone which generates an OTP which we can enter on the AWS to login. Second and third way involves your physical device wherein there is one something called secret hardware key which you need to plug into your laptop and that can be used to authenticate on AWS with MFA. The second is a hardware generated OTP in which you will receive the OTP on your hardware device through which you can see and you can enter the OTP on AWS. In this tutorial, we'll be setting up the first option wherein we'll be installing an app called Google Authenticator from Play Store. This app is very much trustable. It is made by Google. Now let's go back to the screen and set up the first option. While assigning MFA device, the first step is to select MFA device. So here we'll be giving a name. Let's give an example my phone because this app is installed on my phone. I'm selecting the first authenticator app option and I'm clicking on next. On the next screen it says about the compatible applications such as Google Authenticator, Geo Mobile or Authy app. You can use any one. For this tutorial I'm using the Google Authenticator. On the second step it shows the instructions. I need to open my Authenticator app, choose show QR code on this page and then use the app to scan the QR code. Now I'll be opening the app and scanning this QR code. I'm clicking on this show QR code. I got the QR code. This I need to scan it on my application. This Google Authenticator is a secured application. You cannot share your screen or record your screen while the app is open. So I'll be showing my mobile phone here for you to see what I'll be doing on the Google Authenticator app. So first I'm opening my Google Authenticator app by clicking on it. Here there are some accounts already set up. I'm gonna blur this section out in the video. So the thing which we need to set up here is I need to click on this add button. Once I click on this add button, you will see that there is something called scan a QR code or enter a setup key. As said on the AWS portal, I need to scan the QR code. I'm clicking on this first option. I click on this first option. Now this camera opens in order to scan the QR code. Now let me scan this QR code on my screen. As we can see on our screen, guys, I can see that there is a third option added called Amazon Web Services, where I've given the device name as my-phone. It is appearing, and whatever OTP or this number is getting generated, I need to enter 2 consecutive numbers on the AWS portal. Now let me go back to my screen to enter the consecutive numbers. I'm entering the first authentication number which is generated on the app. The second consecutive one as well I should enter. So once I have entered both the MFA code 1 and code 2, I click on add MFA. As we can see here, our MFA device has been successfully assigned. Now let's try to log out and see how I'll be able to log in with my root user. I'm clicking on sign in with console. I have selected the root user. Whatever the safe password is, I'm going to select that safe password and sign in. Now as I have enabled the multi-factor authentication, it is asking me the MFA code. Now without entering this MFA code, I cannot access my root user. Not only I, any user who gets hands on my email ID and password, they will not be able to log in. I'll be entering the code. After entering the code, I should be able to sign in. Raghav, now you understood, right, how to secure your AWS account. Hope I helped you also in securing your AWS account which you have created. If you have not created AWS account, I will leave the link somewhere here in the I button. You can go and watch how to create an AWS account. And also I will leave the link in the description of this video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.